What is up, party people? How's it hanging?
Oh boy.
I'm feeling goofy.
You are
right
feeling
off the bat.
goofy.
Hi, Al.
Hey, Jen.
How's it going, bestie?
Oh, it's going.
Oh,
It's going.
good or bad?
Good.
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 Get it? Got it. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
I wonder why.
Oh, I wonder why.
Good weekend?
Yeah.
Okay.
Coming off of the best weekend of my entire life.
Holy smokes.
Holy shit, it's Maddie fucking Smokes. Anywho, hey, welcome to our podcast. I'm Jen.
I'm Alex.
What's up, party people?
What's up?
Yeah.
We have a really cool topic for you today.
Oh, do we?
Yeah. Jen picked it.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Tell the people.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about design fuel.
Yeah. And Jen will get into exactly what we mean by that, but you know what time it is.
What time is it, Al?
It's time.
Oh.
For a juicy
Lucy?
Oozy disclaimer.
Yeah. I was thinking about doing that, but I couldn't remember how it goes. So
Oh,
I'm
that's
glad you
okay.
did.
That's okay. Next
week.
disclaimer.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, give us that disclaimer, Pookie.
Okay. So, we're girls. Two of us. Two girls in a room.
That's called counting.
2 girls, 2 mics, 1 podcast. You know the reference. Anyways, with that being said, we just got 2 opinions. Sometimes they're neither right nor wrong. They're just right down the middle, just straight as an arrow, just casual. Like it's not bad, it's not good. They're just opinions.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like a butthole. Everybody has one.
Oh, period. Glad you took it there.
Yeah, had to. Jen and I have been away from each other for a week.
I know, I missed you.
I missed you too. The episodes will get switched around here because we're starting to bank up on them, which is super cool for us. But back to the disclaimer. Don't hate us if we say something you don't like, okay? Just give us a little bit of grace and realize that we're just out here saying stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes that stuff doesn't align with your stuff. And that's
if it
okay.
doesn't, that's fine.
So, Jen, design fuel. Take it away.
What the heck is it?
Don't know.
You know? Never heard this
Won't
term
know
in my
until you
life.
tell us.
Well, let me get right into it. What the heck is design fuel? What do we mean when we use that term? I personally would define design fuel as the tools we keep in our back pocket for a day when we get creative block or maybe a little uninspired. This can be in any career or any situation. It doesn't necessarily have to be design related. It can be blank fuel. Fill in the blank. But today we're going to talk about our personal design fuel and what gets our creative juices going. I'm going to give you a little analogy to start with.
I love a good analogy.
Oh, I got you. I'm full of them. Think about a vehicle, whether it's a car or a bus, whatever. Pick one of your choosing.
A car or a bus.
2 sides of the spectrum. You know? Okay, I'm going to pick a car. So I'm going for a road trip and I start with a full tank of gas, right? After driving for some time, stopping for some sights, maybe stopping for a deer every now and then, because, you know, Wisconsin, Minnesota people, there's a deer. So you're driving, stopping for things, seeing the sights, and exhausting your resources, which is gas. And eventually you have to take a second to refill the tank before you can start going again and get to your final destination. And when I say design fuel, that is exactly what I mean. So design fuel is anything that I can use or do to get that burst of energy I need to start going again. I personally look at it in a few different facets. So for me, design fuel is a complete mental and physical reset. And maybe not complete, but anything that'll kind of just get a fire under my butt and get me going.
Whatever you need.
Yeah. I think this one isn't obvious for a lot of people, a go-to for many. But Coffee definitely sits at my number one spot for design fuel. Alex and I did many a coffee trips when we worked with each other at Poppin' Dot. We
3
know
times
that
a
one
week,
well.
baby. 3 times a week.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I love that for us.
Me too.
I am an everyday coffee drinker. I have been for years. And on days where I don't have it right away or I don't get around to it until later in the afternoon, maybe, I definitely notice myself being a little sluggish and a little bit slow and maybe not the most pleasant to be around.
Don't talk to me until I've had my coffee.
Ooh, put that on a shirt. We can also make that a sound bite. Oh, put it on a shirt.
Ooh, put that on a shirt.
Yeah. Going back to that, getting caffeine in me is definitely a great start to the day. Pretty much necessary for design fuel, in my opinion. My job is pretty stationary. I work at a desk from 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday. And whether you're in a design job or not, if you're sitting at a desk for that long, you get tired. And every so often, I feel the need to get up and move just to stretch the muscles a little bit. I think that's one of my favorite ways to reset, just kind of getting active and at least doing something,
Mhm.
whether it's standing up, like walking down the hallway at my apartment, or taking a 5-minute break and like walking around, putting some laundry away, doing whatever, just taking like a little mental break doing that. Personally, my favorites are what I refer to as hot girl walks, which I did not coin that term, but I'm making it my term, trademarking that. So, what the hell is a hot girl walk, you might be asking? Well, let me tell you, friends. A hot girl walk is a high incline fast walk. So, I mean, you can do a hot girl walk not on a treadmill, but I do because that's the easiest for me at the moment.
Is that the definition? It's a high incline fast walk?
Well, maybe not like you don't got to be going straight up, but it's definitely at an incline.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, I mean, that might not be the textbook definition, but that's my definition.
Oh, I like it. Nobody's defined hot girl walk before, so it's
Well, let me
news
do it
to
for
me.
you.
So I must have just been doing a lot of cute girl walks because I walk plateau flat.
You know what? You can make a hot girl walk whatever you want it to be.
No, it's just cute. It's neutral, or
It's just a walk.
it's just walk.
That's funny. My favorites are what I call hot girl walks. Everyone probably has a different definition, clearly. But this is a great way for me to kind of veg my mind out, whereas in work or when I'm working, I kind of veg my body out while the mind is going. So it's like a 180.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to engage my body physically while like not really thinking about high intensive things, just kind of like so at my apartment building, the fitness center overlooks the Quick Trip across the street. So I always watch the cars or like watch who's going in. I'm like, oh, I wonder what they're getting.
Some people bird watch. Jen Quick Trip watches.
I Quick Trip watch. It's my favorite pastime. Another one that goes along with the walking or like getting active. I love being anywhere near Lake Superior, which if you didn't know is the giant lake that we live by. If you're living under a rock, hello, wake up. For me, being able to spend some time by the water and kind of only focus on how pretty the water is, or, oh my God, look, there's a cool rock, and I put it in my pocket, it's a great way for me to let my mind kind of reset and calm down. Even if I'm doing that just on the weekend or after work, it's a good way to chill out, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, mic drop next. I'm a huge music fan, and if I haven't made that obvious yet, I love music. It's one of my favorite things in the entire world, and one of my favorite things within that music realm is collecting vinyl records. Oh, apparently I told Alex before we filmed I had 75, but it's 73.
The lies
liar.
continue.
Uh-huh.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, Al.
It's okay. Well, guess what? Now we have record evidence of said lie.
We have proof that I lied to you, whether intentionally or not.
Continue. We can talk about this later.
Okay, we'll get over it. So I have 73 vinyls, which is crazy, but love that. One of my favorite forms of design fuel is simply listening to some great fucking music. And whether it's on Spotify or putting a record on and chilling around my apartment doing whatever, I tend to get so inspired when I listen to some of my favorite music. Another one, and this is probably a major one in my book for design fuel, would be spending time with friends and family. Family is a huge part of my life as well as all of my friendships. I'm very close with a lot of people, and that's especially important in my eyes. And I find that sometimes what I really need is to see the Kettner gang, which is my family. I love being able to go home for long weekends, whether I have that Friday off or the following Monday of the weekend, and just getting to see my family, getting to see my mom and dad and my sister sometimes if she's up, and especially our dog, Olive. I love going home and just, it's a mental reset that I need, just kind of being at peace, being in my original happy space. I love it.
What kind of dog is Olive?
Oh, Olive is a black lab. She is 4. She'll be 5 this year. She turns 5 in June. And I love her. She's the best. I'll tell you a little more about her.
Okay.
She loves to sleep. She probably sleeps like 22 hours of the day.
A girl after my own heart. I love that.
She's one of us, for real.
She's.
We got to get Olive on the podcast.
We turned the mic over to her. Olive, do you have a rebuttal for that? And she's just like
sniffing
the mic, or she'll
I
just
love
lick
it. Dude, we got to get her on here. One more for design fuel, for me at least, is ensuring that I get enough water and proper meals in me every single day. In my eyes, taking care of your mind is super important, but you can't really do that if your body isn't being nourished. And one thing I love to do, especially for a reset in things and to get my creative juices going, or even just kind of resetting after a long day of work, I love to cook and use my creativity and that creative mind in the kitchen and take away my mind from the computer and just do something else. I like to work with my hands. I love cooking. I love making art, obviously, and both are very creative fields. You can do a lot with art and cooking, so I feel like it kind of fuels the design in me a little bit by doing something different and not so like structured art, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's culinary art.
Absolutely. And so what kind of a cook are you? Do you like to follow a recipe, or do you have certain recipes like in your arsenal already that you just have like ready to go?
Yeah, I would say I have a couple recipes down for sure. I like recipes. I think they're fun. I like pinning some on Pinterest for inspiration. But if I'm being completely truthful, I'm really bad at people telling me what to do.
Oh.
So I go off of a recipe, but I do my own thing.
Yeah, you measure that shit with your heart.
Yeah. I think like if I bake things, which isn't too often, you have to follow a recipe.
Because baking is quite literally a science.
Yes.
And if you do just eye something, it won't turn out.
No.
It won't. You need to follow that as Bible.
Yeah. But in like
But cooking is
cooking, exactly.
Casual.
Yeah.
It can be whatever you want.
And that's what I like to do to fuel my creative mind. We've talked about this before in a lot of episodes, but it's especially important to take care of your mind and your body, whether you're in a creative field or not. Everyone has to have some form of resetting, rejuvenating, getting that energy back. If your tank is empty and you try to keep going, eventually you're going to stop and not be able to go anywhere until someone picks you up.
People say you can't pour from an empty cup.
Wow. We're just dishing the analogies in this episode. We should start paying for this shit.
We shouldn't start paying. They should start paying.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
I meant to say we should start charging for this shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, we should.
Yeah.
Maybe when we get our 50th listener, we'll charge the 51st.
Oh, God. Well. Twins. I was just going to say, that being said, I would love to get your opinion and hear about your things that kind of help you reset.
Sure. Well, I do agree. I will say that I love the fact that you talked about emotional and physical. I mean, you could put spiritual in there, you could put whatever you want. I just believe that, yeah, there comes a time where you need to know when to say when, and you gotta look for outside factors to
For
kind
sure.
of bring you back to your neutral point, you
Yeah.
know? So
Your
before,
center.
yeah, my center, I need to get
I need to
recentered.
center.
Okay, so before I do start, I did want to add a little something that has to do with some comments that we made in our designer versus AI episode, because I was just talking with a friend on the phone and she had sent me, her name's Carly. She's one of my good friends, but she had sent me a meme today and it said, "We can put a man on the moon, but my file is too big to send." So I just want to say I found that incredibly profound. And again, with the AI advancements, like, let's walk before we can run. Like, why can't we send a file that's over 15 megabytes big instead
Literally.
of like,
For those who have no idea what we're talking about, the art we make it has like a digital weight, right? So some things can be huge if there are like super high quality images on there, but sometimes you literally can't send things over email because the file is too big.
which is ridiculous.
Who came up with that? So you're telling me we can have cars that drive themselves, and like I talked about in that episode, we can have an AI that has a body that doesn't have anyone controlling it and can literally respond to other humans, but you're telling me I can't send a large file.
That's
Wrong.
exactly it. So just wanted to finally put that to bed, but to also say other people get it. And it was really reassuring to get that from her and be like, you get it too.
I love that.
You get it too.
Thanks, Carly.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. Now on to what fuels me. So the way that I approached this was like specific things that I unintentionally will come across that just eventually gets me back to a really good point, which I need quite a bit, especially now with the seasons changing again and, you know, coming off of the winter funk and going into spring and then summer and then fall, summer, fall. Like, if that in itself could be a season, that would be my favorite, because but also I like the spring into summer too. So
Winter is
I
my
like
favorite
everything
season.
but winter, but I do think that winter is needed to have a proper balance, I will say.
I love
Just
that.
not 6 months of it or 9, wherever you live. So I will say that the first things that I thought of that fuel me are a good course, maybe a learning platform, or seeing other designers share their work.
That's a
None
good
of-
one.
yeah. Seriously. And like I said, it's all unintentional. It's all subconsciously. There are things that I don't necessarily need to go out and look for. Sometimes I do if I'm really stumped during a project or I just can't find that creative juice flow. But none of these examples are sponsors. I just really like them. Jen knows quite a few of them, if not all of them, which I'm sure she does. But the first one, we've talked about them before. It's a sister duo from California,
Yeah.
Chutzpah. And for those who aren't familiar with them or would like to look them up on Instagram, it's H as in Henry, OOD, Z as in zebra, P as in Pita, AH. So that's Chutzpah.
P as in pita.
Pita.
I love it.
Pita. You know, from Family Guy. Yep.
That was good.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I love going to their Instagram profile because they do have a really good portfolio. It's not their full portfolio. You can go to their website for that. But I also really, really love their freelance and business and stuff course. They have a book that is the same exact title. You can find it on Amazon, but I do highly recommend to purchase it because it's almost like a workbook. Like, you can answer questions in there. And I love the idea that it talks about business and about design, because a lot of things, it's like designers have the design chops and the means to do it, but they're always wondering about pricing and contracts and what are the do's and don'ts of working with clients to make your job easier and to make their experience better. So I have taken 2 courses from them now. One is the freelance and business and stuff course, but there is another one that they had on Dribbble that is really good, which is another example. But if you don't want to purchase the real book or the physical book, if you do take their course, they do give you within that price a free ebook copy of it.
I love that.
So you just get a little PDF sent to your email, and then you can enjoy all the goodies, which is great. So they're honestly my number one design studio I love to follow, because everything they do is not only like vintage and retro and has a large personality to it, it's also very clean and modern and unique. Like they just have the best balance when it comes to design work.
I love them. They're sisters, Jen and Amy Hood. And Alex had me watch that course when I was working for her at Poppin' Dot, and genuinely, I mean, obviously, besides my college education that was 4 years of my life, that was outside of college the biggest thing for growth and learning, I would say, in my design career. I love them. They are the coolest ladies to ever exist, besides me and Al, of course.
Right.
But you should check them out. They're amazing.
Great senses of humor. They absolutely love what they do, and you can tell that. They have a very small team. They're just, and they're very humble in nature. They have accomplished so much, yet the way that they talk to you, like, they're big time, in my opinion, for designers, and they respond to all of their Instagram messages. Jen and I have both gotten responses from them during their Dribble course. You were actually able to message them, and a lot of the times they would read your question and respond to it in real time, which was like,
that's so cool.
You're many time zones apart from these wonderful people, and they are leaders in the design field, and you get to talk to them. And I think that is so cool, because that makes me feel like that's, if I were to ever make it big in anything, I would hope it's design, and I would hope that I would have the same like gracefulness and attitude towards talking to other designers who are just starting off. Another place that I like to go towards or platform is Behance or Dribble. Behance, you can sign in with your Adobe account. Dribble, just make your own account. It's free, but they're very similar. I would say it is a graphic designer's Pinterest, but you have real designers all over the world. You can search by portfolio, by project, you know what type. They have video, photo, illustrations, whatever you could dream of. And it is really just remarkable to see what everybody else is doing. And I think if you have a good mindset about looking at somebody else's work, I would say for Design Fuel, if you are a graphic designer that does not handle looking at other people's work well, and it almost deflates you, or you feel like, oh, I can never be that good enough, or it kind of generates negative self-talk, I would stop looking at people's work outside of inspiration for specific projects, because if you're not ready to receive those thoughts and it's just going to put you in a bad place, then you need to recognize that and maybe don't use that during that time period. I love Skillshare. It's another platform I just think is fantastic. Obviously, there's YouTube and TikTok University, but if you want something that's a little bit more curated for a designer by professionals in the industry, I would recommend Skillshare. I think it's $29.99 a month. Could be even $20 a month. It might be cheaper.
Love that.
Aaron Draplin, there's a bunch of other wonderful graphic designers that are on there, and I really like their courses. Another thing that you can get on there is they actually have marketing and social media advice now too.
Ooh.
So you can do some courses. If you're not a digital designer, a digital creative, they do have different fine art availability on there. Yep. So they have painting, they have physical drawing classes. It's just so great.
Is that the one that we watched the David Carson video on?
No, but I'm glad you brought that up, because that's one that I didn't put on my list, but it's Masterclass. Masterclass is great. However, I would say if you're a graphic designer looking for specific design inspiration, I would not recommend it, because I believe it's like $199 for a year, which is very expensive. But however, I do think that a running discount or a running additive that they have for you when you do sign up is that you can send the link to 2 other people and they can get a membership for a full year. But buyers beware that when you do use that, it's on an auto renew cycle. So if you don't remind yourself in a year to cancel your subscription that you got for free from your friend, they will charge you again. So
I love that.
But David Carson, he has a wonderful masterclass on there. So good. Annie Leibovitz, she is one of my favorite photographers. She has literally photographed everybody. I mean, presidents, the queen, may she rest in peace, actors, actresses. I mean, whoever you could think of, she has photographed them, and they are just magnificent pieces of artwork.
They are.
It's just the way that her brain works is incredible. Masterclass is a wonderful place, but you really have to find like specific things. However, I will say, not to go on a super long tangent, but let's say that you need inspiration to get your design work back up and running, and maybe that inspiration doesn't come from design work itself. Maybe it comes from kind of like what Jen was talking about. You need to put your brain elsewhere and give it a break from design work so you can kind of build back up, fill your cup up again, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe you want to watch a masterclass on cooking or gardening, or, you know, you want to kind of treat those other interests that you have. That might be really cool.
I love that you added that. I don't think that was a weird tangent at all. I think it was needed.
Oh, thanks, Jen.
I love hearing your thoughts.
Oh, thanks, Jen.
Continue, please.
Okay, you got it. Since you said so. Lastly, for this specific form of inspiration that I get, I do want to bring up a local artist. Her name is Antonia Callagher. I could totally be butchering that. I am so sorry, Antonia.
That's how I would say it too.
Callagher.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. Her artist handle on Instagram is at Everyday Antonia May. That's Antonia Mae. She is a local illustrator and artist and has created a lot of merch and designs for 190 Coffee and Tea. They're located in the Lincoln Park district in Duluth. But I love how lively and colorful, but they're very organized, right? Like I call it notching, the type of illustrations that she does, which just means that every single little doodle or illustration that she does has almost the perfect amount of white space, negative space around it. And they all just kind of fill in around each other perfectly. And it's something that just really tickles my brain. Like it just makes me feel so good when I look at her work. And I actually do think that I ran into her at a Movo Studio workout class. I think she was right next to me in my bar class a couple weeks ago, but I haven't formally introduced myself.
Yeah.
So I didn't want that to be the time to do it because we were both struggling. If that was you, Antonia, and you're listening to this podcast, reach out to me because we need to be next to each other again, because it was so comforting to be like, okay, it's not just me.
Just
this is
be there
really
with
nice.
each other.
Yeah.
I love it.
So everybody, please go follow her. She does some really incredible work. And again, like she's one of those people who has a really specific niche, a very specific style. But I do believe that she can kind of reformat that style to work for any type of business or person that she needs to work for.
I would agree completely.
Yeah. So she also, I do want to make one more shout out for Antonia, is that she designed the coffee crawl brochure that they had in Duluth, and that was fantastic.
That was gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Great work, Antonia.
Great work,
we
Antonia.
Love it.
Yes. A round of applause.
Yeah.
So this may sound harsh or maybe a little too serious, but there is the fact that I co-own a business with my dad, and I am a small business owner that kind of helps me with the design fuel. And I'll put that in air quotes, because if you aren't getting work or producing something that could attract future clients, then that's potential your business could collapse, or that you won't be making enough money to continue. So the fact that I also don't want to let my father down, my business partner, because he has invested so much into this business, there is the pressure to keep going with that as well, above all, you know, with the positive pressure to it. But I do think like, wow, I'm really not feeling it lately, but I got to put food on the table. I got to make money. I got to pay rent. Like I got to do all these things. At the end of the day, it is a job. And maybe that's kind of like not the dark side to it, but that is like a harsh reality that, you know, maybe one day we want to have employees, or like we want to do stuff. That was a big, you know, topic of conversation with Jen when we had entertained the idea about bringing her on full time, where we were like, we are still so new. And the responsibility of bringing Jen on and it potentially not being long term because we couldn't afford to give her exactly what she deserves, that's a lot of pressure. And a lot of the times then I've seen other business owners in that capacity kind of lose their love for design, because instead of it being something that's a choice that they love to do, now it's only become the breadwinner. It's only become this money generator, and then you get burnt out from it.
Yeah.
As there are positives and negatives to that specific thing, I do think that it's very important to keep in mind that that is a good thing that drives me to do better, because not only do I want to do better for my father, my business partner, but just the business in general. I only want to see us go up. So it's a good reality to keep revisiting too. I also want to say that Jen is a huge inspiration to me and definitely lights a fire under my ass to keep me designing, because I love her style, and I think seeing her put her unique spin on projects, I say that I would have done an entirely different thing because our styles are just different, and like, you know, my experience is different than yours, and that's all that designers do, is everything you've been taught or learned or like, you know, regurgitated or, you know, soaked in as a designer, that comes out in any design of yours. So because we're two individually different people, we're going to get different results, right? But that's the beauty of it. So I find that very fascinating, because your design decisions, Jen, are so clever and they're very well executed. And I think with working with you, I also love your willingness to make changes and the way that you so gracefully accept constructive criticism. It's very admirable. And I hope you know, coming from my point of view, that I am not the best at taking constructive criticism when it comes from my father, my business partner, because that's a different relationship. It's easier from others, but looking at you and the way that you just go, yep, I'm going to get that done. Your willingness, it's just, I think that it's changed the way that I reflect on myself. And I'm like, that's one thing that I could do better. So that's brought me a lot of design fuel.
I'm like trying not to cry over here. That's
no, don't
so
cry.
Sweet. Well, I hope you know I'm very inspired by you too, but I love you.
I love you too. I love you too. So we'll take a switch here so that way Jen doesn't cry on her microphone. Rot days.
Yes.
Love a good rot day. Jen kind of touched on it a little bit. We need to rot. And by this, I mean we need to be like that bag of garbage in your kitchen that's been sitting there for a little too long, that has a lot of leftovers in it, and it's just sitting in there rotting, getting funky, getting more dirty by the second. Sometimes we have to do that.
I'm sorry guys, I'm trying. I love how in-depth you just went there.
I took it there.
Sometimes you just gotta get funky.
So yeah, you just gotta have a funk. You gotta not shower.
Is it whatever? Never.
I don't,
dude.
I
I'm
don't.
just gonna shut up.
No, it's okay. You want to know what's funny about this? In my notes, I have paragraphs for everything else, and then in between two examples, which are paragraphs, it just says rot days. No explanation needed. Like I said, no shower, food only, couch, nap, couch, bed, food, bathroom, couch, nap, bed.
Period. The word I was trying to say was angst.
Angst.
Anyway,
you say unk.
I have no idea where I pulled that one
rot
from.
days are really angsty. Yeah. You need a little bit of angst as a designer. Lastly, I think driving around Duluth or other cities and seeing how businesses have implemented design into their branding or business really gets me inspired and motivated. Half of the time, I think to myself, oh, that's really cool. I wish I would have thought of that myself. But there are other times, the other half, where I want to take their logo and branding or their operations and just make it better.
No, literally. This past weekend, which is what Alex was hinting at earlier, my boyfriend and I went up the North Shore.
Hard launch.
Hard fucking launch on the podcast.
Love that.
LOL. But we went up the North Shore and we stopped at Gooseberry Falls and we walked like the path to the lake from there. And there's a shelter back there that, I don't know, I think it's just like some gathering space. You can have events there, but also like It's got a bathroom, whatever. You can do whatever there.
Yeah.
Not the point. They had a sign outside the building, and I like literally stopped Henry. I was like, okay, we got to stop. I got to take a picture of this. It used papyrus and Comic Sans on the same
a double sin.
piece.
A double sin.
That's like, okay, but is it like two negatives make a positive?
No,
Or
it is not like that.
two negatives make a
big
crime
negative
against humanity.
Jail
The way it
time.
literally stopped in my tracks, and I was like, hold on, gotta take a picture.
Oh my gosh, I do love that designers love to take pictures of good and bad things. But that's exactly what this
I think I have
example.
more bad than good.
hmm I think I talked about this before on a different episode, but that was a project in my college entry level graphic design course. Was our professor Bill had said, you guys need to go out and see the world this weekend in town and take pictures of signage that you think is not a good example of good graphic design, and then you have to explain why.
I love that. That sounds so fun.
That's exactly what I like to do. I want to blame that specific project for the way that my brain works when I do, because maybe I'm a little judgier. Because, listen, I don't want to get on my high horse and say 50% of the businesses that I see could be doing better. I mean, they could.
But they could.
But I don't say that because I want to get down on the designers. Listen, a lot of the times these businesses, they're having family members design it, or they're designing it themselves on Canva. They're doing a logo generator, like all these different things that Jen and I have talked about before that are alternatives to hiring a graphic designer. They're only going to get so good.
Right.
Because it doesn't have the human touch. It doesn't have the professional touch, the education, the experience behind it. That's just what it is. But that's the fun part. And a lot of TikTokers and designers that are on Instagram have made careers out of redoing people's logos and then posting about it. Sometimes they're trying to be funny. I can't remember.
That one girl.
Yeah, I can't remember her name, but she has a very dry sense of humor. One of my really good friends, Gareth, he always sends me her videos, and he's like, she reminds me of you so much. But she redid like the Detroit Lions and said the Detroit lines, and it's a bunch of lines. And the way that she does her like dry humor, right? So she's being sarcastic about it. They're very bad.
They're so funny sometimes. I don't like all of them, but this might not be one of hers, but in my mind, the first thing that comes to mind is her being like, oh, I wanted to rebrand like Coca-Cola, and I thought theirs was kind of boring. Like, why would you pick red? But I decided to put a cat in it because I really like cats. And
that's her. Yep, that is her. Absolutely. And that's exactly how it's just so refreshing.
Yeah,
and it's fun to see. But on the other hand, there are people who go in there seriously and they're like, oh, this is what I would do here. And I like seeing those because I think the same way. But even outside of design, sometimes I'm at a business, and with the random jobs that I've had in the past, and just like my experience with customer service and now owning a business myself, I also think about how their operations could be better and just almost problem solving. And it's fun, like for me, creatively problem solving and not having to problem solve like a literal long division math on paper or like a calculus thing.
Oh, me too.
That is not my type of problem solving. Something visually or business wise, I love that.
That's perfect.
It's perfect.
That's what we do.
Exactly. So I do want to say I never want to speak poorly on other people's designs because I understand that there at that time was a rhyme and reason to everything. But with the businesses, understanding that I have a good knowing about how branding and good branding can propel a business even more makes me want to help them out. So I do think about if I had a little bit more time on my plate, it would be cool to maybe, I had this idea today. I was driving down through Lincoln Park where I said 190 was that coffee and tea place. And there's a lot of empty buildings.
Yeah.
And I thought, how cool would it be to kind of dream up what this business could be in this building, kind of knowing maybe what was there before, or like there's one that's Anderson Furniture on the corner.
Yeah.
And thinking, oh, if that were to reopen as a furniture place, what would I name it? What would the aesthetic be? You know, what would I base? And even if I want to do sketch out what the inside would be.
I love that.
And just doing that And even doing research like in Lincoln Park with the empty buildings and just thinking, what are they missing? What would be really nice? Because it's a very dense tourist area in the summer. I would say that in Canal Park, it's like there's got to be something that would enhance it. So that would be like a cool, fun project to take on.
That's so fun. I love stuff like that.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of what I have.
I love that.
For my things. I think that it changes daily what I need. And I don't know, sometimes design fuel to me, I think for me, it's more mental exhaustion than physically. I work myself up pretty easily. And like this week, I had mentioned it before in other episodes. This is a really big week. We have a trailer wrap install. I'm very nervous about it. But now that I'm like, it's here and I'm tackling it, I wish I would have had the understanding of how I feel more calm this week, even though I am still stressed out, but it's not as out there as
prominent.
Prominent. Yeah. Oh my God, such a good word. Thank you for saying that.
I got you. Yeah.
But yeah, do you have any final thoughts? Or like, how about this? What if we give people some advice?
On like fuel?
Yeah, on fuel. Go electric.
Well, LOL. I guess advice that I would give off the top of my head would be do things that make you happy, but at the same time, don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone, right?
For sure.
Because one of the things that makes me extremely happy is design. But if I'm completely exhausting my fuel reserve for design and not really paying attention to it, not really noticing how low that level is getting, like I was mentioning earlier, you're just going to run out of that reserve. And sometimes, especially for me, it's kind of hard to get that back immediately, especially if I go like right down to
Well, it's
empty.
your reserve. Like,
right.
That is technically on reserve for emergencies. So when you're dipping, it's kind of like a savings. If you're dipping into your savings a little too much, it's not going to keep building, or it's at least not even going to stay at the level it needs. Like, you have to kind of sit back and think about, like, is this actually an emergency? Do I really need to be dipping into that?
Right. Yeah. I mean, weird analogy aside, I guess my best advice would be do things for you that you think are fun. Do whatever you need to kind of get back into the mindset of whatever you need to focus on, whether that's going for a quick walk around the block or making yourself a nice dinner rather than dino nugs that you bought at Target. Maybe I'm speaking directly at myself for that one.
Oh, I thought you were speaking directly to me, because that is a staple in my house.
Do you get the Target dino nuggets?
I get dino nuggets anywhere I go. It's the only shape that I get.
Yeah.
Is it Tyson?
No, the Target Good and Gather brand. Dude, they're the best.
I can't shop at Target because it's expensive.
Their chicken nuggets, the dino ones, are like $5.99.
Well, I didn't know about them. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't have known because I don't grocery shop there.
That's fair.
So, but now I will just at least add that to when I'm buying my skincare. Yeah. Okay, I got face wash, body wash, dino nuggies. Check.
What more do you need?
Ready to go home.
All right. Dish some advice for me. Or our people. Our peoples. Oh, well.
I want to piggyback off of what you were saying and just kind of hit the other side of it is don't say yes to things that you don't want to do.
Ooh, that's a really good one.
Yes, say yes to things that you want to say yes to, get yourself out of your comfort zone. But this is, we talk about our circles and like who we have in our life. I am at this point right now where I don't want to be on my phone. I've actually thought about deleting Instagram, Snapchat, like all these different things. Jen knows this, and I will gladly take responsibility. I am awful at texting. A lot of the times I get so overwhelmed that I just I either think that I respond in my head or I just don't respond at all.
That's fair.
But there's a lot of times too where I would love to see Jen more often outside or like make time to go visit my friends, but I just don't have the time, the mental capacity. There's a lot of times where it's like I don't have plans and I could hang out or do something, but I can't possibly bear the fact of saying one more word out loud today.
I'm going to piggyback off of your piggyback.
Would that be a pigs in a blanket back?
I like that one. Here's my pigs in a blanket back. You have to refill your cup before you can fill other people's.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Preach.
Mic drop. Fucking mic drop, baby.
Because you can't pour from an empty cup into another empty cup, because then you just got 2 empty cups. And what a disaster that would be.
No, I love it.
Just a bunch of cups.
It's like the cup song from Pitch Perfect, you know? Just a bunch of empty cups.
Just a bunch of empty cups with Anna Kendrick playing on you.
Period.
Anything
else you want to say, my lovely, gorgeous pal, Al?
No.
All right.
Because you want to know what biggest piece of advice?
Yeah.
Find out what works for you. Don't listen to us, actually.
Well, yeah. I mean, as much as we can, like, give advice or be like, just do what makes you happy, at the end of the day, you know what makes you happy.
Exactly.
So go do that.
Go do that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll end on that.
All right.
Okay.
Well, bye.
Bye. We know. We shouldn't end like that. Okay. Love you guys.
I love you guys so much. I hope you have a fantastic week. Whatever day you're watching this, whatever year you're watching this. If it's like 2035 right now, hey, what's up?
Hey, these are your girls from 2024. I'm sure things have been different. I'm sure things have changed. How's AI doing?
Okay, bye. We're done.
Okay, see you guys.
Okay, bye.
Doodles.